I have created a very special book for the Hitchhiker's SMP, but I am now releasing it for free on planetminecraft.com. Link will be in the description below. The Sculptures book is the successor to the Armor Statues book. Created entirely by myself and tested thoroughly on the Hitchhiker's SMP, Sculptures allows us to create block displays, item displays, and text displays in our experiences by taking items from the player's offhand. This is perfect for both survival players and creative players alike. For those of you who may not be aware of what a block, item, or text display are, they are entities whose sole purpose is just to render a display of some sort. Block displays display blocks such as hay bales, acacia logs, and even command blocks. Item displays display items such as the item form of blocks, crossbows, and mob heads. This is the item form of a door, and this is the block form of a door. So item displays will show the item form, block displays will show the block form. And lastly, text displays, which display text similar to that of a name tag. Each of these have no tick updates, which help prevent the unnecessary lag accompanied by large quantities of armor stands. They also come with other great features such as scaling, billboard modes, and brightness adjustments. My goal today is to help show you how to use the book and understand each of the options available to you. To create the book, you need to have the data pack installed on your world or on your server, and to craft it, all you need to do is have a book and quill. You are going to call it Sculptures with a capital S, sign and close, and bada bing, bada boom, you have your Sculptures book. So first and foremost, we have the table of contents page. This handy page allows us to quickly jump to a specific section of our book simply by clicking on one of the pink lines of text on this page. For example, the utility text will take us to page 2 for the utility section. All of these pages have these little arrows at the top to jump right back to the table of contents. Utility is our second page. This is where we will determine what type of entity we are working with. We can add, remove, or swap objects being used, lock or unlock the entity to prevent or allow further editing, change the billboard modes, enable or display glow outlines and change their colors, or simply display the target. By selecting block, item, or text, you can change which entity mode you have selected. Block can be used for any block in the game. Item can be used for any item in the game, including block items. Text can be used for any text you want displayed. Any button in the book after you select one of these will only affect display entities of a matching type. The add button will allow you to add a display entity at your current position. Simply have the item you want added in your offhand, select the add button, and it will be created at your position. If you are in text mode, the text created will be whatever custom name your item has. It will not use the normal name for the item. For example, if I had this grass block in my offhand and I went into text mode and I clicked on add, nothing would happen. However, if I were to rename the grass block to, let's say, testing text, put it in my offhand, and now click add, you will see that the text does get added right here. Remove will remove the nearest unlocked display entity. Swap will swap out the nearest unlocked display entity with whatever item is in your offhand, if it also matches that display type you are swapping. Lock will prevent the nearest unlocked display entity from being edited further, and unlock will allow the nearest locked display entity to be edited further. We then have our billboard section. Changing the billboards mode will change how display entities look as you move your camera around them. They are fixed by default, which means they do not rotate with your camera. They're just fixed in place. Vertical will keep the pitch rotation from moving, but still allow the yaw rotation to move to face the opposite of your camera. As you notice, I look up and down, it stays kind of in the center, but if I move left and right, it will move in the opposite direction. Horizontal kind of works similarly, except it is now using the pitch rotation instead of the yaw rotation to turn. And as I rotate side to side, nothing happens, but up and down, it will rotate in the opposite direction. And finally, center will kind of do both of those at the same time. As you see, I can move side to side and it moves, up and down and it also moves. The glow section has an on and off toggle. Selecting one of these will either enable or disable glowing outlines on your display entity. This will default to white. However, if we choose one of the colors listed below, we can actually change the color of this outline. So right now it's blue, and then I can change it to orange, and if I wanted to, I can change it back to white. Finally, in this section, we have display target, which can be used to visualize which target is closest and will be the one selected to edit. So right now it is this one. As you can see, it blinks on and off to indicate this is the target selected. Page 3 is the transformations menu. This is where you're going to change position, rotation, and scale of your display entity. Simply select what type of transformation you would like to adjust. POS represents positions and will allow you to move your display's location in the world. ROT or ROT represents rotation and will allow you to rotate your display to face different directions. And scale will allow you to resize your display to be smaller or larger. Having scale specifically makes this a huge upgrade from the armor statues book, which does not allow you to change the size of the object as freely. When you select your transformation mode, you should also select what increments you want to be able to adjust by. Position increments are based off of the normal number of pixels on the Minecraft block. So if we were to count from left to right how many pixels go across, you will see that it is the number 16. Position increments are by half a pixel, 1 pixel, 3 pixels, half a block for 8 pixels, 1 full block for 16 pixels, and 2 full blocks for 32 pixels. Scale increments work differently though, and instead of using pixel increments, it uses percentage increments. This is just how scale works when it comes to rendering. You can consider both this oak button and this grass block to be a scale of 1 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis, and 1 on the z-axis. That means that even though this is only 4 pixels wide, this is still a scale of 1, and even though this is 16 pixels wide, it is also still a scale of 1. This means to scale, we are going to have to use percentages instead. And as you can see, that's going to vary from item to item. So the best way to consider it is when you're scaling something up or down, you are scaling it a percentage of its original size. Rotation increments are also a little bit different as they are labeled by degrees. And in between the selection mode and the increments list, we have options for increasing or decreasing the X, Y, and Z coordinates of our selected transformation mode. All 3 axes have a plus or minus button, and depending on your increment and mode, will change how you transform your display. For example, plus X on rotation with a 45-degree angle will rotate a block to lean over 45 degrees on its side. The next page is for common properties. These are properties that all display entities share. We have our brightness section, which allows us to modify the lighting on a block. When this is set to default, normal lighting conditions will apply. So if you're in a dark cave, the entity will appear dark. If you're in bright light, it will appear bright. You may also change the brightness to be modified, which means that it's not going to change the lighting of the display entity regardless of where it's at in the world. However, this can be changed through the sky and block settings right here, the plus or minus. To make adjustments to the lighting of a block, both of these values must be edited, and these both range from 0 to 15, much like the lighting levels you find in standard Minecraft. So you will have to adjust both if you want the lighting to be edited, because if the sky value is 15 and the block value is 0, it will always appear bright because the sky value is at its max. And it's also true if the block value is 15 and the sky value is 0. So if you want to make adjustments, you're going to have to modify both. We can also change the shadow strength and radius. The radius determines how big a shadow will be on the ground. The strength determines how dark it will be. Please keep in mind that the bigger and darker a shadow is, the bigger a performance impact it will have. And then we also have 2 additional position alignment options. Teleport to the player will teleport the entity exactly where you are standing, and teleport to grid will align the display entity on the block grid of the world. Page 5 is all about copying and pasting data from one display entity to another. You can pick and choose what data gets copied by choosing the corresponding copy button. For example, if I wanted to copy the shadow data, I can hit copy right here. Or if I wanted to copy everything, I can copy all properties. And you can pick and choose what data gets pasted by choosing the corresponding paste button. So if I wanted to paste the brightness data that I have copied, I can click on the paste button for our brightness section. If the config setting is enabled, you can also copy and paste entire groups of display entities from one location to another. However, this may be locked behind a setting as it does not take the items from your offhand to do it. Page 6 is all about item displays specifically. Items have 9 different item display modes. If you've worked with Blockbench before, you might have worked with all of these display modes before. None just renders the item as it is. Fixed renders it as if it were an item inside of an item frame. Third person left is how it appears in somebody else's left hand. Third person right is how it appears in somebody else's right hand. First person left is how it displays in your left hand. First person right is how it appears in your right hand. Head is what it looks like on somebody's head. GUI is how it looks inside of your hotbar or inventory. And ground is how it looks when it is on the ground as a thrown item. Selecting any of these will change the item display mode of your item display. And lastly on this page, we do have Enchantment Glint, which allows you to add Enchantment Glint to any item. For fun, you could also remove the item display later to drop an enchanted variant of it. The glint doesn't add anything special to the item other than a visual though. And lastly, we have our credits page where it shows who made the book. Me! Now I would like to give you guys some quick tips for using the book. When working in large groups of display entities, you may find yourself needing to lock and unlock display entities to change them. When working in close proximity, this becomes extremely difficult if care is not taken. Take, for example, this table. I have 3 display entities making up the table's leg, 1 for the tabletop, 7 for the decorations, and 4 for the chairs surrounding it. If I had all of these unlocked and I wanted to move the tabletop, I may run into an issue where the book is selecting the wrong display entity to manipulate. In cases like this, I would lock everything nearby. Afterwards, I would unlock things one by one until the target that I actually want to edit actually unlocks. So right now I have only unlocked a few things. You can see that the tabletop has not blinked yet. That means it is still locked, and we're just going to go until that one does unlock right now. So let's relock everything one at a time, and it's going to lock it back in the order that we unlocked it. So the first one originally unlocked will always be the first one relocked as long as you're in the same location. So now it should just be the tabletop that is unlocked. And now if I wanted to edit it, I can quickly do that without having to worry about manipulating any of the others in the surrounding area. Another quick feature that the book has to offer is on the transformation page. When you select an increment, the transformation mode will actually automatically change to the corresponding one. So if I chose 200%, it will automatically change to scale mode. If I changed position increment of 3, it'll change to position. And let's say I selected 5 degrees, it'll automatically change to rotation. I also highly recommend having a lectern handy, because with these books, there's a lot of opening them, selecting the command, and then the book automatically closes when the command is selected. With the lectern, once you do that, it'll still kick you out of the book menu. However, when you reopen it, you will still be on the same page you left off on. I truly hope that this tutorial was helpful. I've been getting a real kick out of this book, as you can see at my little project here on the Hitchhiker's SMP, and there's plenty more where that came from. Anyway, that is it for this video. Have a good one.